Okay, welcome back to the channel. On this trip, I made two exploratory stops. This is the second one. Now, if I could only have one bait for Fluke, without question it'd be the trusty 6-inch jerk shad on a quarter-ounce jig head, the same bait I've been harping on this channel for years. However, there's always room for a little experimentation, and after a few outings worth of testing, if I had to pick a secondary gulp profile to jig with from shore, it'd be the relatively new 4-inch Gulp Grub. I'm using the same 3/16 to quarter-ounce jig head depending on depth and current. Same rod reel line setup, just a slightly downsized silhouette for fish that are keyed in on smaller bait. The 4-inch grub, as opposed to the 5 or 6-inch grub, has a slim enough tail that you still get that burst of acceleration when you pop it off the bottom. Like the jerk shad, that startup speed is a major trigger for big fluke. In terms of rigging grubs, you should know that if you rig it tail down, it will slow the fall rate, and in my opinion gives it the best action. And that's Mr. Chang. I had a very fun private lesson with him last year.
A fluke just came out of the water. No. Jig.
Oh,
Jig, yeah.
And I guess that's now part of the package. If you take a lesson from me and we run into each other on the beach later on, any keepers I catch are yours.
19 fat.
19.
There you go.
Yeah, thank you.
So here you'll see me make short pitches to the first break along the shoreline instead of bombing my jig out there, much like when I'm fishing in heavy wind. Every few casts I will pitch a little further beyond the break, just to check for fish that are holding a little bit deeper. But in terms of efficiency, most of the fish that day came off the break, so I am basically walking up and down the beach depending on the current direction and just pitching it up current a few feet beyond the break and working that diagonal line.
This is the fattest fluke I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Yep, 20 and a half.
Okay, so here's where I started off that morning. A bit more current and a lot of smaller fluke that were biting off the tail. So after losing a bunch of tails, I started adding a little spinner blade to the gulp stubs. I started doing this years ago, and I'll leave a link to a video I posted to Tackle Advisors channel going through the whole process. Now here's a tip for fishing current, and especially current that is holding a lot of suspended vegetation. You always want to cast up current, never down current. Your jig should always travel with the flow and also matching the speed of the current as closely as possible. The reason for this is if you cast down current and drag your jig against the current, all the seaweed that is flowing with the current will hit your line and travel down to your jig, and you end up pulling in a Cobb salad. If you work your jig with the current and at a similar speed as the water, then your line and jig is traveling with the suspended grass and you're pretty much weedless throughout a cast.
Oh, it's so fat. shit.
I do seem to attract dim-witted seagulls everywhere I go. But in any case, that's the video. I hope that was helpful. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you on the next one.